This is a special edition of Late Night Health. I'm Mark Allen. We're at Expo West here in Anaheim, California, and this is the 26th, I think, edition of this, sponsored by New Hope, brought to us by New Hope, where a lot of new products are presented, and we're going to be presenting a new product here with our friend Vishal Shah, who is the whole-time director for Mumbai-based India, in India, Nutraventure. Vishal, nice to see you again.
Nice to be here, Mark. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure, and say hi to your wife.
Hi, Raj.
Yeah, hi, wife. Your title is Whole-Time Director.
Yes.
What does that mean?
So it's more of a title in listed companies in India, and it basically, in a nutshell, means they can't get rid of me, so I'm there for life. So
okay.
it's a good thing to have.
It's a good thing to have. All right, good. So you have all kinds of new products and new things going on at Nutraventure. We spoke with somebody recently about some of the testing on another product of yours.
Yeah.
Right. But you have a new one. It's a branded ingredient, and it's called Prolenza.
Prolenza.
And it's an ashwagandha.
Yes.
So let's talk what ashwagandha is first, and then let's talk about Prolenza. Ashwagandha is known throughout the world.
Yeah.
It is used. Tell us about the history of it in India to start with.
So ashwagandha is native to India, and it's been used for, I think, documented at least 2,000-3,000 years. So there is a lot of evidence of ashwagandha use back in Ayurveda, and it is an excellent adaptogen. So what it basically, the benefits it would give you is the reduction in stress, and that is something which is very important. And as we speak right now, stress is the biggest category to be
around the world.
Around
it
the world.
is terrible.
Yeah.
What's an adaptogen?
So adaptogens will basically adapt to conditions within your body, decrease the things which are bad and increase the things which are required. So it's a multi-purpose herb, and the beauty of it and the clinical science for it lies in stress management. And that is something which we really wanted to bring an innovation in. Typically, when Nutraventure picks up a project, so it's not like a turnkey, at least for the branded ingredients. Ashwagandha itself is almost, I think, close to 4 years in making.
Oh
so
my.
yeah, so we get back to the roots. So figuring out, okay, which region in India you get the best crop from, what is the vithanolide content within these, then going and extracting it. So we work with our, it's a partner project for us, and we work with Leila Nutraceuticals out of India, who actually helped us and work with us to give us the best active. So what we did was we went to the different regions, figured out which ashwagandha. Of course, it follows the entire sustainability, traceability. So all those aspects we start working on much sooner. And then when we found the right crop, we've got into the science of it. Because it's just not finding an ashwagandha which has high vithanolide content. How are the vithanolides consumed by us? There is actually no pharmacokinetic published which we found. And we found that very strange. I mean, ashwagandha has been used so often, but there was no pharmacokinetics. So how do you know?
So that's a clinical study.
It's more on how, once you consume it, how is it, how much of the vithanolide is present in the human body, how well is it absorbed. So there was no literature. So we had to actually start all the way from the basics.
So you started at zero.
At zero, and build it up, which actually worked for us. Because what we learned was the vithanolides, which are there, which are identified by USP, they get eliminated very quick. So that provided a perfect opportunity for us, because we specialize in a lot of creating long-acting, sustained release ingredients, and this fit right in.
And the name of this, if we hadn't mentioned it, is Prolenza.
Prolenza. So we've branded it as Prolenza. It's a new age ashwagandha. It is something which I feel the marketplace really needs. It's a lot of time, effort, a lot of passion has gone into making it. So love to talk about it.
Prolanza has a unique release.
Yes.
And this is, I think this is common in many of your products.
Yes.
I'll call it time release.
Yes.
Would that be
So,
an accurate description?
yeah, so it's long acting. So long acting can be, excuse me, sustained release, time release, control release. So basically, what you do is, if your active is getting eliminated from your body in a short time, it's of no use, because you will take a high dose, but then within 1 or 2 hours, it's out of your body. So your benefit, the beneficial window you get is much, much lower.
And how long does Prolanza stay?
So Prolanza, we have made it stay for close to 24 hours in your body. So it's a full day protection.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you take
So
one tablet, one capsule?
one tablet a day. So so we created it as a low dose, once a day product, because fundamentally we believe if you're having something and if you are asked to take 3 or 4 doses in a day, patient compliance is not going to be there. I mean, there was a study once, I think, out of London, where they studied compliance for antibiotics. I mean, that's life-threatening.
Right.
Yeah, and it's so strange. The first day it is close to 70, 80%, so everyone has it. Then it keeps on falling down. Third day onwards, the compliance was less than 30%.
There was a study I remember, and I don't remember where it was. If a doctor said to a patient, if you don't take this pill, you're going to die. And the compliance was less than 50%.
Yeah. So see, you will have it for the first or second day. The minute you start feeling good, okay, I'm not going to take it 3 times a day. I'll just take it 2 times, then once, and then okay, I'm fine. I don't need it anymore. And that is the issue, because all our products or all herbal products have to be taken over time to get the full benefits. And that is where we feel that if you come up with a 1 a day product where people have to just take it once a day, very, very high chance that they will stick to that regimen. And it's more of a habit forming. So once you take it every day at a particular time, you form a habit.
It's almost like muscle memory in
Yeah,
golf,
yeah,
right?
yeah, that's there.
Right. Do you play golf?
I'm learning actually.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe you can teach me after that. There's a word that I'm going to ask you to describe. It's with analytes.
With analytes,
With
yes.
analytes. That's a technical term. Describe it for us.
So vithanolides, to kind of put it in a very layman's language, is the active of ashwagandha. So the entire plant of ashwagandha is filled with vithanolides. Vithanolides are the adaptogenic actives which give it all the benefits. And that is what is, I would say, the heart of the herb. And that is the active which we have gone ahead and extracted. One thing about the entire ashwagandha market, when we studied it, we found that there was next to no standardization. And that is a very surprising element for us. Now, we come from a pharmaceutical lineage, so there has to be standardization. And we saw that most of the players were just, okay, this is my standard, I'm going to supply it to you, you test against this. I mean, if you test against something which someone has supplied, you better pass, right?
Right.
If you fail that, then that's...
Then
No,
right.
so,
Well, that would mean that the effectiveness of other products,
it's always in question.
it's always in question.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, if I'm a supplier and I'm giving you my standard, then how do I check if everything is right? So what we focused on was USP. So USP has actually done a great job and identified the vithanolides. And that is what we decided to benchmark our product against. Most of the vithanolides which USP have identified are the ones which give clinical benefits. So we worked and took that. And the other thing which we actually did was, and I'd like to talk about that.
Sure.
Ayurveda has always maintained that ashwagandha should be always consumed the root parts. You should never consume the leaves. And there's so much anecdotal evidence for it on the benefits of roots. Now, the other thing which we kind of realized was a lot of other suppliers, for economic reasons, were combining the leaves and the roots. Now, the entire ashwagandha plant is composed of course, the part above the ground and the part below. There are vithanolites present, but the root has a different set of vithanolites and a different concentration of them. The leaves have differences. So what we wanted to stay close to the roots, which is Ayurveda, and actually consume the roots. So,
Okay.
so that is where we took that call early on that we will follow what Ayurveda has always prescribed, and we will use the roots only. The other thing was that Ayurveda says that you have to take it 3 times a day.
Right.
3000
And
years ago, they never had the technical capabilities to make something long lasting. But they actually, back then, to their credit, they realized that the effectiveness is something which is present when consumed 3 times a day. So that is what we focused on, and that became the precursor for our entire development team to correlate it with the human pharmacokinetic study. And that's what we did. We were the first in the world to publish a human pharmacokinetic study, peer reviewed and published, to show the absorption and the bioavailability of our Prolanza. And we benchmarked it against something which was quite prevalently used, ashwagandha, and we found phenomenal results. There was actually almost no USP vithanolite present in the competition, whereas in our case, we were almost 12 times higher.
wow.
So,
And you used Ayurvedic medicine as the basis?
yes. So, ashwagandha,
Excuse me. Let's talk about that just briefly. Ayurvedic is one of the oldest health systems
yes,
in the world,
Yeah.
and it's from India.
yes.
So I wanted people to know what that was.
No, I think Ayurveda has gained a lot of prominence. The focus has always been on using herbals for Ayurveda, and they back then, I think they really nailed it. I mean, in terms of figuring out 3,000 years ago, going into a jungle, figuring out, okay, this works for this works for that. That's a body of evidence. And that's actually one of the ethos for us is that we would like to use what is available in nature, enhance it using the present day science, and create a perceivable difference for our consumers. And that is the entire foundation which NutriVenture is built on.
Right. You discussed, you mentioned the clinical studies, so let's talk about that. The studies actually confirm
Yes.
what you thought the product would do, what Prolanza would do.
Yeah. So it was quite exciting journey to be part of. Of course, we started with cell line studies. We did preclinicals. We kind of got an idea. Okay, I will use this particular mix of vithanolites, put it into a long-acting matrix, and then we wanted to study how actually it would work in humans. And that was the first part of the clinical would be once you have your formulation ready and humans consume it, we wanted to map out the entire journey of the vithanolites. And what was fascinating was that Prolanza, the vithanolites, the USP vithanolites, stay in the human plasma for a period of 24 hours. Which is groundbreaking, at least for us. I mean, that kind of validated everything that we had hypothesized. So we were really excited, and we jumped into our first clinical trial.
So, at the same time, one of the things that we all hear about is cortisol.
Yeah.
I'm touching my belly. Yours is flatter than mine. Cortisol is the stress hormone, and it causes all kinds of problems. It can cause diabetes. It can cause weight gain, especially in the midriff, and that's for both men and women. You found a way to get to minimize the cortisol.
Yeah.
I want some.
No, I think it's a great point to break up, and that's what we focused on. We wanted to show clinical efficacy. Now, clinical efficacy is of course something which it should be quantifiable, and that's where we wanted to quantify it with a biomarker which is cortisol and show the reduction for it. So that is something which was one of the primary endpoints for our clinical trial, and
Wow.
and we actually also, one thing which we do a bit differently is we don't take diseased population. See, dietary supplements are generally used for people who are regular people like you and me. So
Right.
yeah, we have a certain amount of stress, not clinically diagnosed as stressed,
Right.
but on the border, and we would love to basically then consume this product and go ahead and get the benefits out. If you take disease population and show a reduction, you cannot make FDA claims
Right.
because FDA won't allow you to put any claims on your dietary supplements. So that is something which we always focus on, and that was part of the entire clinical trial which we did. And we had multiple endpoints for us. There was we used Cantab and we showed a reduction in perceived stress, statistically significant. So what worked well for us is all our endpoints were statistically significant. We showed a reduction in the cortisol level. There was a 1.7 times reduction in cortisol. So that's a huge,
That's
huge,
huge.
huge. And
Well, that would also indicate weight loss.
yeah, so once typically what happens is if you're stressed, you end up eating. I mean, it's called stress-induced
I'm a
eating.
stress eater. Yeah, I am a big stress eater, no
So
question.
that's something which, of course, you can correlate. If your stress levels go down, you would be more disciplined and you would not go ahead and just do some stress eating. So we did that. The other very fascinating aspect of our clinical trial was, and what we had seen in our preclinical studies, was the entire memory part. So the memory recall was enhanced using our ashwagandha, and the visual accuracy increased.
You mean our the person's
The recall,
memory
yeah,
recall?
yeah.
Wow.
So I mean ashwagandha
I want twice now.
twice.
Yeah.
No, so how ashwagandha works and how Prolanza works is you ideally take it in the morning. When you take it in the morning, it affects your cortisol. It will go down. Your stress levels decrease. Because of your stress levels and your cortisol reduction, your memory is enhanced. So basic things like remembering to go for remembering names, meetings, those cues will be much higher, and as well as your visual memory and visual recall increase. So it works. I mean, as an adaptogen, it is so perfect. I mean, it reduces things which are bad for you, increases things which are good for you, and and we also actually study sleep patterns out of it, and we found that
I want three times now because sleep, we all know that we're supposed to get three times, 8 hours a
8 hours
day. Do
of
you
sleep.
sleep 8 hours a day?
I do actually.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Now that you take
Prolanza.
Prolanza, we all know that we're supposed to, but most people do not get 8 hours of sleep. And without that 8 hours of sleep, there are other health issues
Yes.
that can manifest.
So the thing about ashwagandha is ashwagandha will not put you to sleep
Right.
or make you sleep. What ashwagandha does is that it works as an adaptogen. It will reduce your stress. It will make you lead a better life. Your day goes better. Your stress levels are low, and then you end up sleeping. So a lot of people try and ashwagandha works great for sleep, no doubt about it. But it will not cause you to go to sleep.
Could you?
It's not a melatonin. See, a
Right. I
melatonin
was
will
gonna.
actually makes you drowsy,
Yes.
but ashwagandha is something which will work on your entire body so that you can have a peaceful uh, sleep.
Could you mix the two, melatonin?
But then that would be something we can study that.
Yeah, that should be studied. Um, Talk to us about, this is pharmacokinetic?
Kinetic, yeah.
Yeah, what is pharmacokinetic?
So pharmacokinetic is, again, as I had mentioned, how the active is absorbed in your body, how long does it stay, what is the half life, so how is it absorbed in the body. So in a very layman's way is how effectively is it circulating and getting absorbed in your body. And as I mentioned earlier, we were the first people to kind of study it and publish it. So that study has gained a lot of traction, a lot of references, because that was the first of its kind. And that laid the foundation for our entire long-acting, all-day acting, once-a-day Prolanza.
Wow. I mean, there's so many benefits from
Yeah,
the ashwagandha, the Prolanza,
yes.
and you've clinically
Pruned it.
proven that it works. Um, as we wrap up, uh, what industry partnerships and collaborations has Nutraventure been doing?
So we love our ingredients. We spend a lot of time on them. We feel the clinical benefits are phenomenal, and that's where we want to be out there shouting at the top of our voice that okay, guys, we have the best thing out here. Come meet with us, let's collaborate, let's figure out how it would fit well in your product. It's a one a day product, it's low dose, which is very important because a lot of our dietary supplement manufacturers would want to combine it with other beneficial things.
Like the melatonin I just mentioned.
Yeah,
It could.
it could. But there's limited shelf space, right?
Sure.
I mean, the room is as big, I mean, the room is a fixed size. You have to
Yes.
fit as many things out there. So traditionally, if you go for any other ashwagandha, the dose is anywhere from 1 gram to 1.5 grams. Ours is a low dose, 300 mg, that's it.
That's considerably less than
Yes.
that. Wow. But
But-
it's more effective.
Yes, so when you actually have a high dose product, you would have to then consume it 3 times a day, and that's why the dose is that high. But because of our entire R&D which we do, we have packed the entire punch of that 1.5 gram dosage into just 300 milligrams. So it's once a day and clinically validated with the first ever pharmacokinetic published.
Vishal, this is amazing. And it's science-based. All
yeah.
the products at
Yeah.
Nutraventure are science-based. You gonna tell us a secret? What's next?
Whatever is next, it would have a perceivable benefit. It would be completely science-based. It would have clinical validation. So we have a lot of ideas. So we have a great team working with us. I think at any given point of time, they have at least 5, 6 ideas they're bouncing back off. And our endeavor is to be a long-term player here. We invest in clinical trials pretty much at least 2 trials a year. In the short span that we've been around, we have done 9 clinical trials. We have
Oh
22
my.
patents. We have a great team working for us, and we are really looking forward to bringing new innovations in the future.
And I should mention, clinical trials in general, but specifically for nutraceuticals, are not
No, it's
cheap.
not.
They're expensive.
Expensive
And they have-
trials,
right?
and you have to develop your methods to analyze it. There's a lot of method validation, so that is something which it takes time, but once you actually do it, you get all your benefits then.
Will you come back, Vishal?
Yeah, of course, we are going to be here every year.
All right, good. Well, and we can also do some more on Zoom. Listen, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks,
I
Mark.
appreciate it. This has been a special edition of Late Night Health. If you want information, we've had throughout our chat together, we've had how you can get in touch with the team at Nutraventure. I'm Mark Allen for Late Night Health. We'll see you in our next edition. Bye-bye for now.